A day without deadlines. Lucas used to live in Seattle, on the 18th floor of a glass building where the highway was always humming and the nights never got dark. His days were filled with Zoom calls, campaign briefs, and cold coffee in recycled cups. He kept telling himself it was temporary, that once he got promoted, he'd finally breathe. But one morning, he woke up with his cheek pressed against his keyboard, headphones still on, and realized he'd been gone from his own life far longer than he thought. So, he sold his hybrid car, ended his lease, and moved to his late grandfather's small town in Oregon. A place with more pine trees than people, where the loudest thing at night was crickets. Nobody asked him about KPIs there. People asked if he knew how to fix a fence. He laughed. He didn't. His first morning as a farmer didn't start with an alarm, but with a real rooster from the neighbor's yard crowing like it had breaking news. Lucas pulled on a worn jean jacket and secondhand boots, then shuffled to the chicken coop to collect eggs. One of the hens pecked his knuckle, and the old lady next door laughed so loudly he nearly dropped the basket. He brewed coffee using a dented metal filter he found in a drawer, something his grandfather must have used. The steam drifted across the porch as the sun eased itself over the ridge. It didn't bounce off glass buildings here. It slipped through branches and laid itself gently across the garden, where kale, tomatoes, and zucchini sprawled like children, taking up too much space. Mid-morning, Hank, the neighbor with the rooster, pulled up in his dented pickup and dropped 2 rolls of wire at Lucas's feet. "Your fence is shot," he said, jerking his chin toward the back field. Sure enough, one plank had split, and something with hooves had stepped through. They spent hours replacing posts and pulling wire tight. Lucas's palms blistered, his back ached. For the first time in years, he didn't check his phone. Lunch was eggs he'd collected, bread toasted in a skillet, and a handful of greens from the yard. He ate it at a weathered table beneath an apple tree, where ants staged casual invasions across his plate. It beat microwaving leftovers in front of a screen. In the afternoon, he climbed onto his grandfather's old tractor and churned up the soil behind the barn. Some patches were soft and dark, others still held yesterday's rain. The engine rumbled, thoughts quieted. No slogans to write, no slogans to pretend to believe. At 4, he drove to the farmer's market with a crate of kale, a basket of eggs, and a few jars of honey from the hives he'd started tending. People called him the city kid who came back to farm. Kids asked if he'd ever seen a celebrity. A woman with silver hair paid for his vegetables with the warm apple pie and the smile that didn't feel forced. At dusk, he secured the chicken coop, filled the goat's water trough, and sat on the porch steps. The air smelled like pine and dirt cooling in the shade. There were no sirens, no horns, no Slack notifications begging for responses. He stared at the horizon, wondering when he'd last watched a sunset without guilt.